Hello and welcome, this is Ardizer from Ardizer Gaming and welcome to my ever first build video. This is the build video for my Stamina Decay, the werewolf build I've been playing and showing clips of on YouTube. Without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm a wood elf, mainly for the max stam, the recovery, as I run a lot of recovery being a werewolf. And the poison and disease resistance, because that's a weakness to a werewolf, so the wood elf counters that the best. I'm using the new Comoran food, the food which gives you max health, max stamina and stam recovery. I think I got it right here. This one, I've been trying out a lot. I've been using this one in the past, but I was a Khajiit back then, so the loss in stam recovery I get from going to this is made up from being a wood elf, so that's really good. Tried this one as well. This one works quite good, but it's harder to sustain as a werewolf, but outside of a werewolf this is probably the best. Moving on into gear real quick. This is a Maelstrom battle axe. I prefer this in sharpened, I just haven't been able to get it. The Sword of Salvation. This is the Salvation set. We have five piece on this on the back bar. This is where our werewolf transformation is. As you can see, it's a nice stamina set to begin with recovery and max stamina. But this reduces the transformation of the werewolf ability by 33%, so that requires only 200 ultimate in order to transform. And while transformed, we'll get 148 weapon damage. Okay, sword and shield that is. Gear, you want as much of stamina enchantments on your gear as possible. I did choose to do some health just to get it a little bit more up where I'm comfortable. Using the Bloodspawn, mainly for recovery again, and generate ultimate to transform faster. But also the physical and spell resistance this gives is really nice. As you get targeted as a werewolf a lot, people focus you, they just want to kill you because you're feral. 7 Legion, this is our heavy armor set. Really fond of heavy armor. As I said, you get focused a lot, so this really helps you keep alive. The 5-piece bonus on this gives you 488 weapon damage for 5 seconds. That's a very small time. But still, in my experience, this is up a lot because it procs off every type of weapons, every type of damage. So it could be area of effect, damage over time, or direct damage. I've seen this being active like a whole fight, even when you're outnumbered. It doesn't drop, and you get the minor healing tricks as well from this. Moving on, I'm using the Necklace of Salvation here, the jewelry, just to finish my salvation set. All weapon damage enchants on this. So we're moving right into the skills. On this bar, running volatile armor to get our defensive up. Heroic slash for a debuff and a snare, and also get our ultimate back up quickly. Igneous shields to get our stamina back and give us major mending. Resolving figure for our heal. Shuffle for our dodge chance and the immunity to snares. It's only 1 second as we have only got 2-piece medium armor, but still this is really nice to get away. From bar rally for a major vitality, heal over time, burst heal, critical rush, gap closer, really nothing more than that. Noxious breath to apply major fracture to reduce the enemy's physical resistance, as we all do. We only do physical attacks, so this reduces their resistance to it. Dizzying swing, our main damage ability. It stuns them. Really nothing more than that. It has a cast time of 1 second. That's the downside of it. Reverse slice to finish off our opponent and still take flight. It's still the best looking ultimate in the game, in my opinion. And it's really strong this patch. So I find myself using it a lot, even though it's a werewolf build lately. But still. Moving on to the werewolf skills. really not much of a choice here. But you could go, some morphs you could change. Werewolf Berserker, this increases your damage from your light attacks. So the bleed damage will be increased by 40%, and that's really nice. The Werewolf ultimate itself, while slotted, gives you 50% more stam recovery, so again we get a lot more stam recovery. And our spell and physical resistance is again increased by another about around 10,000, as well as our stamina. So we get more stamina from being a werewolf. Then on Feral Pounce, this is our gap closer. It could potentially set an enemy off, stun an enemy if they were already set off balance. Not really important for my part. First's Rage. This is our main heal. It's not really that strong of a heal, mostly 5k, 6k potentially. But this increases our weapon damage by another 10% for 20 seconds. So this adds up again. Rousing Roar. Rousing Roar fears them and sets your enemies off balance. So again, we do 10% more damage against off-balance targets. So this is really a nice skill. Moving on to Claws of Life first. This is our like a conal attack, and everyone it hits gets a disease damage over time, and we heal from that. So this is really nice to swing at a group of people to get your healing up. Then we have Howl of Agony. Howl of Agony is our damage ability. It's kind of like the Dizzying Swing, only this one has no casting time. The damage is equal. It starts for 3 seconds, but what you first want to do before going into this, you could use this to pressure if someone is CC immune. But if they're not, first use Rousing Roar to go into fear. As I said, it will put them in a fear state and an off-balance state. And this thing does 30% more damage against enemies that are feared, so that's 30%, but it's also 10% from the off-balance passive in the champion tree. So this thing in total does 40% more damage to them enemies that are feared and off-balance. So this is really has high burst potential. Of course, the werewolf passives, get all of them. They're good. They're made for the werewolf. This one I wanted to address. It increases your weapon damage by 18%. So by now we've seen 4 different ways to increase our weapon damage with a percentage. That's a total of 53% extra weapon damage. Well, you've seen all the weapon damage procs that I do have. I tried to capture it on clip, but it's really hard to get. But I've calculated that the potential of the weapon damage we have in ideal circumstances is 4,989 weapon damage. So that is a lot. It's almost 5k weapon damage you can reach on this build. So it's really a lot. Showing our stats real quick. This is what it looks like outside of werewolf form. And on a front bar. As for the resistance, I've made a calculation of that because we got 3 buffs going on. In ideal circumstances they're all up, but of course your volatile armor is going to run down very quickly. But in ideal circumstances, from our buffs only, we do 21.5k extra resistance on top of what we already have. In total that's 40k, almost 41k physical resistance and 43k spell resistance potentially you can reach. Of course, like I said, the volatile armor is going to run out, so you lose another 5. But still, you're very much over the resistance cap, and in PvP people have a lot of sharpened and penetration armor. So it's really nice to be over the cap, because after all the sharpness and penetration, your resistance will still be very high. Covering our champion points real quick. Warlord 90 for reduced cost. Mooncalf 97 for increase in stam recovery. This is our way to sustain again. This synergizes really well with being a wood elf, using the Serpent Motherstone. Again, we need a recovery to sustain in werewolf form, as we can't use Battle Roar and Earthen Heart abilities anymore. 13 into Tumbling. 13 in a Blast. 30 into Shattering Blows. 10 into firmatures, 10 into precise, 37 into piercing and 100 into mighty. This unlocks all passives in this tree. Most important, the exploited passives. After we feared, a target is also offset of balance, so that's another 10% damage we do against them. To our resistance, 13 into crit resistance, 68 into hardy and 51 into elemental defender. We up into hardy a bit because we get spell resistance naturally from being a DK, plus the poison damage is increased by 25% on a werewolf, so that's why we up in this. 21 into thick skinned for the damage over time reduced. Quick recovery 30, and yeah, that really just covers the champion points. So this is basically what we're looking at as the werewolf stats. Still, like I said, the potential of this is even higher when we're in combat. It's been very hard for me to get a clip of that. But still, as a base, this is really a good way to set up. The stam recovery is really nice to maintain. That goes up as well from the passives we get in PvP. So yeah, that's basically all there is to this build. If you have questions, feel free to ask, or suggestions, that might be good as well. Leave them down in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed this video or something like that. And well, I'll see you next time on my channel. Thanks for watching again, and goodbye.